I was just asked on my other social media pages, they said, Sam, what are the 5 greatest things about being a fighter? What are the things that make you thank God every morning that you are a fighter? What are they? And my typical answer, for most podcasts that interview me, they say, what's the greatest thing about being a fighter? My throwaway answer is, I never have to wear shoes. I am in sandals all day long, every day. The UFC has given me more than I will ever need. That's just a throwaway answer. That's kind of a funny line. And it's true. Only job in the world, you never have to wear shoes. And I love that. But I started really putting some thought into it. This man said his kid is becoming an MMA fighter. He's young, just learning everything, but he wants desperately to be in the UFC. So I asked, what are the best parts about being a fighter? I'm going to answer this in a 5-part series. There's no one answer that, so yeah, this is the reason. There were my top 5 reasons for being an MMA fighter. Reason number 5, the pay. The pay is incredible. Once you are in the UFC, that is, the pay is incredible. Outside of the UFC, the pay is no good. UFC pays very well. I was able to afford 6 kids. I have a ranch. I've got cars. I've got a food truck. I've got my own business. I've been able to afford things because although my streak in the UFC is not a streak I like to brag about, that streak was only made possible because I was one of the most successful fighters in the history of MMA. It's just true. I have made more money in MMA than just about anyone else. But from the beginning, from fight 1, I made $10,000, $8,000, my first UFC fight. More money than I'd ever made ever before. And then I made 16, then I made 20, then I made 40, it went up exponentially as I increased my ranking among the world. The pay is my 5th highest ranking reason as to why I like being a fighter. I get to wake up every morning and there are things I have to do. I have to feed the cat. I have to take care of the dogs, my horses, my goats, all that. I have to do all that. But I don't have to do anything else. If I don't want to work out today, I don't have to. Given if I don't work out, I get my ass kicked in the cage, so I'm going to work out. It is my job to do that, but I don't have to. I have made enough money fighting that I did not have to do that. Now, I'm no Sean Strickland, and I will come a day when I have no choice but to get up and work every day. But as I was fighting in the UFC, every day was what I wanted it to be. Because they paid so well, because they paid a sustainable wage that helped me build and raise a family like that. That's why it's got to be on the list. A lot of people complain about the pay, but you'll never hear a complaint out of me. They paid me more than I was worth. They paid me as much as I was worth. And I will always be a fan of the UFC and thankful for what they've helped me accomplish. Now, moving up the list, number 4. Now, this goes for everything. This is UFC. This is pre-UFC. This is like before the UFC when I made no money fighting, no money. I mean, I have fights in Australia where they paid me nothing. I went over there, I fought, or not Australia, New Zealand. I went over there, I fought, and I walked away with less than I went with. But I got to go. It was a free trip. I fought in Trinidad. I should say number 4, travel. I get to travel the world. No money. I mean, I fought in Trinidad. I had to pay for my corner to get there. I made $800 when I won. They flew me over. They put me up in a hotel, but I had to fly my corner. It was fine. I enjoyed doing it. I got to go to Trinidad for next to nothing. I got to go to New Zealand for next to nothing. I got to go to Mexico. I got to go to Canada. I got to go to Poland. I got to go to Albania. I traveled the world, fighting for almost nothing. And then I got in the UFC, and the UFC paid me to travel. I've been to so many countries. My passport, I'm on like my 3rd passport. I believe, last count I had is I've been to 42 or 43 countries. I have been everywhere in this world. I have seen, except Africa. I've never been to Africa. I've got to get there, I just haven't had the opportunity. I've been just about everywhere in the world. I've traveled. When you first start fighting, when I first started fighting, I didn't do it for money. It was fun to do. And you know what? Hey, I'm going to get a free plane ticket to Trinidad. I said, let's go. I said, okay. And that's what we did. And I had a blast doing it. It was so much fun just getting to see all these different cultures, meet these different people from around the world. That's why number 4 on my list of greatest parts of being a fighter is and will always be travel. I love it. Number 3, the 3rd reason I truly love the career I've been able to have with fighting. And this next one, number 3, is the same for everyone. Whether you're in the UFC, Bellator, King of the Cage, just some fight down the street. Your friends your training partners and your coaches just are meshed together with one another. You guys are forever bonded. Every morning you wake up, you get to go to the gym. You get to work out with the guys that you bleed with, sweat with, cry with. Maybe not cry. We're manly men. But you get to do that with your friends every day. You get to build relationships with these men. I mean, truly, by the end of the first year, these men would die for you. These training partners would go in there and they would bleed for you, with you, because of you sometimes. Lifelong bonds are formed because I got punched in the face by him. Sean Strickland's a good friend of mine. He has broken my jaw, and he's attempted to break it a few more times. I've hurt his knee. We've pulled each other out of fights before. One of my best friends in the world, Tom Galicchio, he tore my MCL. I think I did the same thing to him, actually. I got a thing with knees. Like, I go after him, apparently. It didn't click till now. But because my career, my job, my for a long time hobby was MMA, I made these friends. I made these acquaintances that are lifelong. I will remember them forever. I will cherish every memory I have with them. And if ever I need a kidney, I have a list of training partners that would be willing to help me find one. And that's not unique to me. I know I'm a nice guy and people love me and I love people. This is across the board. You meet these people, these MMA fighters, whether they're great, whether they're bad, whether they're medium, whether they're just doing it because they want to try it. They have this way of just connecting with one another. A common goal. Understanding his strength is my weakness, but together we will become that. I never wrestled. Not really. I wrestled, but not well. I was a B-team wrestler at a D3 school. Jesse Taylor, one of the best wrestlers I've ever worked with. He and I helped each other for so much. I have the third highest takedown defense rating in UFC history. And it's because of Jesse Taylor. It's because he took me down every day for years. Jesse Taylor is also one of the flakiest men I know. He moved away, but close enough he could come train. He'd always say, Sam, I'm coming. We're going to work out. I'm Nighthawk, promise. It's going to happen. And then I wouldn't see him. I mean, it'd be like 3 years till I saw him again. But because of how much he meant to me at the beginning of my career with Team Quest, he's forever forgiven. I just love that guy. And that is what MMA does. That's what jiu-jitsu does. That is what that martial art community does. And that is what I've spent my life accomplishing. So that's my number 3, is the community I get to build with my teammates, my family, my coaches. Number 2, maybe the greatest thing that I have done in my career, or that MMA has helped me do because of my career, is I have made this a family sport. And this is very similar for a lot of people. Every time I go somewhere, my kids get amped. We do, fight watches together. They see where I'm going, who I'm going to fight. They come with me to the fights. Our whole world kind of revolved around me fighting. When I went, my second oldest, he was my youngest for a little bit. My second oldest, Ivo, we had to induce labor on his due date, but 2 weeks before I went to Australia because we needed to get him a passport. So on his due date, we showed up to the hospital. It's like, get him out. We got to go. So my wife and I took my brand new born Ivo and my year-and-a-half-old Reagan to Australia. And then Crosby came and we went to Brazil. And then Allie and Alistair came and we've gone to Mexico and Canada. And now Evander, poor little Evander hasn't traveled yet. He's going to. But my kids have been around the world because of it. Every time I get a fight offer, my family comes together. It has helped build what we are. My kids, they brag, oh, my daddy, he's a fighter. He fights for the UFC. He's done this and that. My daddy's famous. And I've had to inform all of them, I'm fighter famous. I'm fighter famous. Not a real fighter. It's just kind of famous. And because I have had this career in fighting, my family is tight. If ever there was a time that I couldn't take my kids, I have a lot of kids, I couldn't take my kids, my parents came out and would stay with my kids for 2 weeks or a week or however long the fight was. Right now, if I went to the Dominican Republic a few weeks ago to fight with Karate Combat, my parents came down. They drove my kids to and from school. They took care of them for a few days. That my family has been able to be so involved in my life, and it's not just mine, it is every fighter. Every fighter's family is now focused on your career because your career means they get to eat a little bit more. They get to have a little bit more fun. They get to experience a little bit more. And that is really close to being my number 1. That I've been able to make this a family business. it's helped make my life. Now, the number one reason that you want to become a fighter, that you want to make that fighting career a real go-getter. This is a tricky one because not every fighter does it. I do it. Most fighters kind of tend to themselves. I don't. I understand I would not have a career without you guys. I understand that I would have had nothing if it were not for you guys tuning in to watch me knock somebody out or get knocked out. Thank you guys too. You still tuned in. So my number one reason that I love being a fighter is that I get to connect with the fans, with the youth, with the kids, with the old guys, with the fans of the sport. I get to give back ever so slightly. I would never get to do that in any other sport. And if I was no good at fighting, like if I never made it to UFC, it would not be the case for me either. But because I made it to that next level, because I became a super pro, I get asked questions all the time. Like this entire video is based on a father asking about his son. Asking what can his son expect? What would his son like to do? And that I have the platform now to be able to help guide this youth to a UFC championship. Or maybe just entertain him a little bit outside of a fight. Be able to speak to him a little bit. And that happens a lot. I mean, I get every day on my Instagram, I've got about 266,000 followers. Every day on my Instagram, I'll get 10 to 25 messages from people either saying hi or asking me a question or, hey, can I send you this fight video? And I try to get back to each and every one of it. If you DM me, I try to get back to you. And for the most part, I do. Even sometimes it's just I heart your comment. I accept your request, I heart your comment. A lot of times I respond with something with thank you, or I'll watch it, send it here, or if you want something signed, send it to me again, I'll get it back to you. That I have people that want to talk to me. I understand someday in my life, nobody will want to talk to me. Someday in my life, I'll just be that old guy that I got hit a lot. But right now, I'm able to help or entertain or be part of your lives. That I get to do anything, that you guys want me to do anything with you. Has just touched my soul. And I am so thankful for each and every one of you guys. I am. That's my number one reason, the number one greatest benefit of being a fighter is I can help the next generation of fighters go forwards. That I can help yesteryear's generation of fighters or fight fans enjoy the sport a little bit more. That I get to be part of I don't want to say be part of your family, but be part of your lives, even ever so slightly. That's it's ever so slightly. I'm bringing some joy. I'm hoping to. It fills me, my soul with happiness. So I truly, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you guys for watching these. I thank you for helping me become the fighter I was and the fighter I'm still to become. Because without you guys, I wouldn't have had a job. Sean Strickland stole that from me. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And my next video is going to be the 5 worst parts about being a fighter. You think my good things are good? My bad things are... There are some negative ones too. It's coming up next.